Okay, now we're going to begin monotyping. As with all projects, what you need to start with is preparing your paper and establishing the registration for your plates. First and foremost, I'm taking one of my sheets of paper and I'm actually setting it underneath this sheet of plexiglass, which each of you will be given. And then with a Sharpie, I'm going to just trace the outside edges of my my paper here. So I can decide to do what's called a bleed print, which would be that the image would go beyond my paper, or I could do I could establish a rectangle within my paper, giving myself a border as well. But I think we've done a fair amount of border pieces, so it might be, you know, a nice experiment for you to try working with bleed prints with Monotype. So I'm probably going to need to make sure that my paper is a little over when my ink is a little over. So what I can do is also tape things off as well, but I have at least where I want my paper to be established on this. I'm going to flip it over so that that never gets disturbed, and then we can see that my paper fits right in there. A way to sort of keep it nice and crisp and clean, let's say I wanted a smaller space inside, I could actually set up tape. We'll do one this way just so you guys can see. I could kind of create a taped border so that then my image is, and what's cool about if you have 1-inch tape, then you can actually, you know, determine a 1-inch border pretty easily. Oops. Making sure it's down smooth. So with Monotype, there are several different ways you can work. You can work additively, almost as if you're painting. You can work subtractively by taking ink away, or you can work with small stencils. This is just a thin paper stencil that I've created, or you can also do something called direct trace. So first I'm going to show you reductive working. Ink quite well before you put it out on your slab. Then roll a little bit of ink out with your brayer. And then start spreading the ink on your surface, your plate. Monotype, meaning one, you're only going to really get one. You might be able to get some ghosts and some other slight impressions, but
And what's a ghost?
a ghost is when you've removed some ink from the plate with one impression, but there's still enough left that you can get a little more as well. All right, so I can leave my tape on right now and work reductively on this. I could put an image underneath that I might want to be working with. I'll play around with this little diatom. And your best tools for large areas, although most of you probably won't be working that large, for large areas you want cotton balls, but for smaller areas, Q-tips are kind of perfect. So, and this ink is a really good consistency for just picking up. There is a point though when you're working with the Q-tips that they get so saturated that then all you're doing is pushing ink around instead of removing it. So something to kind of keep in mind. So you will go through a fair amount of Q-tips. If you want smaller details, sometimes the coolest thing to work with is like either a pencil or the back of a paintbrush is also really nice for really fine areas. So like these really delicate little areas right here, I can get some of this removed.